Greetings, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Barbara Dean Franklin Show, Real Talk, Real People. I am your host, Barbara Dean Franklin, and today I have the awesome pleasure of sitting with my friend, Mr. Michael Jerome Powell. How are you, Michael?
I'm great. How you doing, Barbara?
I am wonderful. I am wonderful. So for many people, I'm sure they've heard your name. You know, Michael Powell, the music producer, was a member of Chapter 8. You've produced music for so many people, but what I'm going to do is I like to share with people how we met. So, you know, back in the day when Chapter 8 was at Henry's Cocktail Lounge, my girlfriend Rosemary introduced me to your mother at first, and then you and I became friends. I shared that I was first person to give you a Jerry curl. And then I gave your mother a curl, her friends a curl. I believe that my daughter does hair today because I was the Jerry curl queen.
You are. Absolutely.
So we're going to talk today about just the music business, just a little bit about your passion. I want people to know who you are. They know all the great things that you've done, but I want people to know how you got started. So my first question to you is, did you always know, I mean, when you were young, that this is what you wanted to do?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. I really didn't get interested into music till about, I'm going to say maybe 11 years old, something like that. But turning into a producer was never in my sight because I didn't know what a producer was. You know, I just wanted to play guitar and get in a band some kind of way or something like that. You know, I wanted to play keyboards, and my brother was in the Army, and he sent money home for my mom to buy me a keyboard. And my mother said, "We can't afford to buy you. We're gonna take this money and buy you some shoes."
I know that's right.
So I didn't get the keyboard, and my cousin from Chicago came. He was a guitar player, and he left one of his guitars at my house when he left. So I just picked the guitar up and just started, messing around with it, and eventually taught myself how to play.
And that's what I was going to say. A lot of people probably don't know. So you really never, did you eventually start taking lessons, or you taught yourself?
Never took lessons. I went to take some lessons at some point in my career, and the guitar player was asking me to show him stuff.
Wow.
I said, okay, this is not going to work for me. I'm not learning anything. So, yeah, I basically taught myself.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So you taught yourself how to play guitar, and then how did Chapter 8, because was that like the first, first professional thing that you did was Chapter 8?
Well, yes. Actually, the second. The first one was David Washington and I, and my brother, who had just come back from the Army, was a singer. And we formed a little thing, and we performed at the Raven Lounge over on Shane. That's a long time ago.
Telling your age.
Yeah, and we would do little shows here and there. We had our little double knit outfits on, looking like Kermit the Frog. But that was like the first thing we did. We didn't really make a lot of money from it. And then David and I got some guys together and formed Chapter 8. And that's how that came about.
All right. And so Chapter 8, and Chapter 8 before Anita Baker. It was always Chapter 8.
Absolutely.
And
well, before that, we were called, we were looking for a name, and we called ourselves the Juicers.
The Juicers?
The Juicers. Don't ask me why.
I know that's right.
The guy that was managing us at the time, he said, "Oh, we're going to call you guys the Juicers." I'm like, I don't think so.
Well, hey, back then, people probably weren't thinking, because juicing is a good thing
today.
Exactly. Everybody is juicing. So the Juicers might make it today, where they weren't make it back then. And then you brought Anita into the, how did what made you guys already have your band, you already playing, and so what made you bring Anita in?
Well, we actually had other singers before Anita. We had Carolyn Crawford, who sang that Everybody Get Up on and Dance with Bohannon. That's her. We had a girl, Joyce Love, I think that was her name. Barbara Love, that was her name.
Okay.
And maybe a couple of more singers. And then we were playing at a club on the east side called the Cabaret Lounge.
Okay.
Matt Miller was the owner there, and we were working there. And we worked there like 5 days a week, you know. And we decided we're going to take a little time off. And he brought another band in.
Okay.
And Anita was singing with that band.
Okay.
With another female singer. And David went over to the club one night, and he saw Anita sing. She only sang 1 or 2 songs all night long. She was like a little background singer.
Okay.
And David saw her, and he came back to us. He said, man, you got to go over here and hear this girl. She's bad. She's bad. So we went over and saw her, and she was just singing one little song, and she sounded great. She had a different kind of voice, you know. So, and she could sing. So after, you know, she came off stage, we just asked her, you want to sing with Chapter 8? She was like, Chapter 8?
Okay.
Yeah, I want to sing with Chapter 8. Because we were like, us and Brainstorm were the hottest bands in Detroit, you know.
See, and I remember in Chapman, I mean, just anytime I hear Gloria or whatever, I always picture, you know, because they were at Henry's, you were at Henry's, I always pictured them being there with you.
Right,
you know?
right.
Yes, is that you?
That's my message.
Okay, all right. So, with Anita, then you started to write music. Let's talk about how did you get into going from, you know, you got your band, you have your, you know, your music.
Right.
How did you start writing? I mean, and when you write, where does your lyrics come from? Tell me about
Well, you know, I write 2 ways. I can write with the guitar and then come up with the lyrics.
Okay.
Or I may come up with a melody or a hook, then I put the music to it.
Okay.
You know, one of the early songs that I wrote was I Just Want to Be Your Girl. I wrote that.
Okay.
And I know a lot of women ask me that, how you write a song about I just want to be your girl?
Right.
You know, and I've always known that women bought most of the music, you know. So I was just trying to write something that I thought women
appeal to them.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know, and I'm always thinking that way, you know. And I was right. I mean, women love that song,
Most
you know.
definitely.
And I did that, and I did a song called I Need Love, the Gerald Lyles song on Chapter 8.
Okay.
And it's just another song that appeals to women. But I just, you know, however it comes to me, you know, whether it's a melody or a lyric or a hook or just something musically that sounds great, I say, oh, I like this, and I'll just put words to it.
So for the people who write today, because you said something, you know, you thought about who your audience was going to be, you know, prior to you making that. You know that women are making, buying the music, so you were thinking about appealing to the women. So do you think that, like, I'm just listening to all of the music that, if we talk about rap, you know, do you think that they're doing that today, that they think about who's going to buy their music when they put it out?
Well, yeah, I think they do think about that, but they don't really have any real discretion about what they're saying in today's music, you know what I'm saying? I mean, for a minute there, and even still now, people are making songs and you never hear the word love.
Right.
But they're supposed to be love songs, but they never say love.
Right.
You know, they talk about sex and, you know, what they're going to do and what they want you to do to them. And, you know, and they'll even say, I don't love you, but I want to get with you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
But listen to this love song.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
It's sad. So kind of like what advice, I mean, you know, like people, there are a lot of people, and I think that because we're getting away from music. I mean, the good old Frankie Beverly, Chapter 8, Enchantment, you know, B.B. King even made. I mean, you know, you think about the blues. I mean, you know, do we have any blues singers today? I mean, other than newer ones coming up.
Not really, no. We don't.
Yeah, because it's like people are getting away from that. But that was music. I went to to my mother's because, you know, I'm getting ready to move in with my sister, you know, while we look for a house for Florida. And I found reel-to-reel tapes, you know, because we had a record player that had reel-to-reels. And so on Friday or Saturday, she would invite her friends over and they would be singing. And so, you know, maybe you have some equipment. Do you know anybody with equipment that can run that to see what's on those tapes?
Yeah, there are studios around town that you can find out.
Yeah, well, I want to run it because I thought about, and I put this song up on Facebook the other night because I'm thinking this song that they always song was September in the Rain. The leaves are brown, came tumbling down. Remember that September in the rain. You know, and it was, I can't think of the lady who, I know Frank Sinatra sung it also, but it was a African American woman that they used to always imitate. And my mother and her girlfriend Corrine Hudgens, who is Carl Carlton's mother, who that whole family has a voice. So you know, we would get in there, you couldn't tell us nothing, you know, singing on the tape. So, but you know, it's like people are not making real music today. So, you know, we thank God for producers like you, for musicians like you who, you know, still bring real music to the forefront. Now, I know recently you did something with Aretha, didn't you?
I've been working with Aretha for over 10 years now.
I know.
You know.
But I saw you guys, like, it seemed like not long ago, she was coming up with, I think with her last album or something that she came up with, you were doing something with her on that. The Queen of Soul. She's always been the queen.
Yeah, absolutely. And always will be.
Always will be. My pastor was sharing with us the other day that Pastor E.L. Branch of Third New Hope is doing something, and I can't remember the date, in remembrance of C.L. Franklin, you know, so they were talking about his sermons, you know, her dad, you know, that history, you know, that Aretha Franklin carries with her from way down before Aretha. It was her dad, you know, was his preaching and his singing. So, you know, again, what do you think? What advice do you have for people that want to be in the music business? What would you tell them?
I would say, first of all, like anything else that you want to be good at, you got to study your craft and try to master it. You know, they say it takes 10,000 hours to get good at anything, you know, and that doesn't sound like a lot of time, but it really is a lot of time to put into something, you know, and you got to be passionate about music, you know. What's happening today with kids is that technology has made it so easy to make beats. You know, they don't say I make music. You talk to the average person in the music business, I make beats. You know, and that's what they do. They make beats. They have machines that you can press one button and practically make a song.
So they don't really know the craft.
They don't know the craft. They don't study music. You know, I've been working with Aretha for a long time, and I've seen producers come in that had hit records that came in to work with Aretha, and Aretha would tell them, that key is too low for me. We got to bring the key up. And they would look at me like,
how do you do that?
What is she talking about? I said, you got to bring the pitch up. What is that? You got to make the pitch higher. You got to take it up a few steps so she can sing it and feel comfortable doing it. And they wouldn't know what I was talking about because they sampled the music, you know, and just put a beat over it. So they really couldn't control it. But they have machines now that can even do that, you know, and keep the same tempo and change the pitch. So they're making it so easy, but that doesn't make you
master the craft.
Exactly. You don't evolve into a great producer or a songwriter, you know, and people are in their basement and they're making little beats and they think they mastered the world, you know. But outside of that, when you go to do something that's going to challenge your skills, you don't have the skills. So you miss out on great opportunities because you're not prepared. You know, so you always got to be prepared. Music is always evolving. It's always changing every day. New technology, this, that, and the other. But you have to, if you're going to be a musician, you got to study. You can't just pick up an instrument and just start playing and be good at it. You know, there are people, there are prodigies that God knows why they can do it.
Right.
They do. Sit down at the piano and just start playing.
Right.
You know, but if you're not gifted like that, guess what? You're going to have to study.
Most definitely. And I think that is key, because when you talk about, somebody, having that beat, you can go someplace and you could do your beat and people are out there dancing and they could dance to your beat or whatever. But like you said, if somebody's coming in and they're asking you to make some alterations to that beat,
exactly.
How do you do that? Because all you're used to is downloading that beat to one thing. You don't know about, the synthesizer. Like, I don't know.
Right.
But what I'm just saying,
But
you have to move those keys up and down to get that pitch, to get it right. Make sure it doesn't squeal. Make sure that equilibrium is going up and down and stuff like that. Like, I really know something about music, but so of all the things you're a musician. You did a little background singing too when you were in Chapter 8.
Yep.
You produce, and of all the things that you've done, you had your own studio, and you still you produce now under D-Town. What's your
D-Town is my record label.
Okay. So of all the things that you've done, what is the most fulfilling for you?
Production.
Okay.
Production.
Okay.
I like producing because it's like your television show.
Okay.
It starts with nothing, then you bring in cameras, you bring in the lights, you build your set, and it's a building process until you create the finished product.
Exactly.
And when you see it back, you say, wow, that's a really nice show, So it fulfills you in a way from taking nothing to something.
All right. That's
and
good.
and then you get your feedback on the internet. People say, "Oh, I like your show," So you're getting that feedback and the appreciation of your work that you put into it. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
You have to make it happen.
Right. Most definitely.
And the way it look and the sound, it's all calculated.
So Mike, you've been doing this for how many years now?
Wow, I want to say 40 years.
Wow. That's a long time.
It's a long time.
But it's also, the great thing about it, you've been doing it for a long time, and I guess you could be, and I hope I'm going to get this right, like Drake, you started from the bottom, now you're here.
Right, exactly.
Whoever
that's
sings
right,
that
that's
song.
right.
Because you started, because somebody left a guitar at your house, and then you picked it up and mastered the guitar. And not only, I'm talking about mastered it in a way that it has taking you all over the world. You've been blessed, by that music.
Yes.
You've been able to travel the world. You've worked with some of the best people. You've ate at Roscoe's Waffles and Chicken. You've been, I just think about when you took OBF, Ordinary Black Folk, and I'm going to have to give them some props. They told me to tell you, and I say it on camera so they know that I told you they're ready to do some work. So they said, call them, okay? When they went to Boca Raton, and they were in the competition that whatever
the conference,
had.
music conference.
And I've been to your studio and see you work with people, how, you're like a personal training coach, they got to get it right, you know. And what I love, even, my daughter always says, you taught her the craft, how to come into a room and command their presence, and how to keep people engaged, all throughout their performing and whatever, So that is in mastering your craft. I mean, once you became a producer, what was because you produced on Chapter 8, but once you, when you had your studio and when you went in there, did you watch somebody or you just walked in there, you knew what you wanted to do and you became good at it? How did?
Well, the way I became a producer was when Chapter 8 wanted to record, we were signed to a production company, and they wanted to get a producer for us, and they was telling me about this guy who was a producer, a local producer, who had records on the radio.
Okay.
And I remember hearing this guy's records, and they were horrible. And I said, I don't want that guy producing us. Right. And they said, well, look, just meet with the guy, and after you meet with him, if you like what he's talking about, maybe he can do something for you. And so we're sitting down talking to the guy, and the guy says, and I'll produce you, and I'll do this, and da 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 da, and you know, maybe the second or third album you can produce yourself, because who knows what you want to sound like better than you?
Right.
And I said, what? What did you just say?
Okay, all right.
I said, oh, okay. And I left that meeting. I went back to the company. I said, this guy's not going to do it for us, because I know what I want to sound like better than he knows what I want to sound like. I can do that, you know. And so I told him, I said, well, can we get Maurice White to produce us with Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Okay.
He said, we can't afford Maurice White.
Thinking big.
Right, thinking big,
Right.
you know. And then, what's his name? Michael Henderson was hot at the time.
Right.
I said, well, maybe Mike can produce it. We can't afford Mike Henderson, you know. I said, well, he said, well, look, you guys go in there and see what you can do, and we'll see how it works out, you know. And so we went in, and I really depended on the engineer to help me, just to tell me what we should and what to do, because you just can't go in the studio just knowing what to do.
Right.
Somebody that knows what to do
more than you.
Absolutely,
Right.
you know. And so the reason why I became a producer, when we were doing things, I was like really on top of it. When it was time to go, I didn't want to leave. You know, I was there. Can I hang around? You know, I just wanted to learn more and more. I was just fascinated by the equipment and all of that, you know. And I just learned it and just got better and better and better, you know.
Okay. Well, that's good. So as you were talking, you know, I was thinking about Chapter 8, and I just want you to give a shout out to, you know, you said that Jay was at your party. So let's talk about the original members of Chapter 8, and then we're going to get back on your thing, because I want you to make sure that you call each and every one's name that's in the group that still, you know, you still have a relationship with. So.
Sam Burns, David Washington, these guys were at my party also. Martin Stewart. Scott Guthrie, he came to the party. And when I said Jay, I meant L.J. Reynolds. Jay is in North Carolina.
Okay, L.J., all right.
But we are talking about trying to do a reunion of Chapter 8. You know.
Don't forget your drummer.
Oh, Derek Dirksen.
Okay, yes.
And I was going to say that Valerie will be here in June. She sings with Diana Ross.
All right.
Yeah, she sang with Luther for a lot of years. Now she's singing with Diana Ross.
Because Valerie came in after Anita, right?
After Anita, right.
Yes.
So she sung on 2 subsequent albums after Anita.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful. Now, if like people that are out, you know, how do they engage? I mean, you know, because now Mike Powell is like, when you were asking way back in the day, well, can Mike Henderson do it? Can Maurice White do it? You know, I know a lot of people probably can't afford a Mike Powell, but how do you engage a producer when you want to have somebody produce your music? How do you engage them?
Well, first of all, you got to figure, okay, what kind of music am I doing? And is this person capable of bringing out the best in what we're trying to do? You know, as a producer, my job is to bring out the best in everybody. All the singers, all the musicians, the best in the song, the best arrangement. You know, I need to bring everything up to the next level. If you're seeking out a producer, like if someone wanted to work with me, you know, I'm available. You know, my email address is Michael J. Powell 44 at msn.com. And I can be reached through my email.
All right.
But you have to understand that when you get a producer, you have to have a budget, a recording budget. You got to go into the studio, you got to pay musicians, you got to pay an engineer, you know, nothing's free. So make sure that you are funded, because you can only do as much as your money can do for you. You know what I'm saying? So if you have no money, you have no production. You can't produce it. You know, you know, there are producers around, young guys coming up that are good, you know.
So tell me this, I'm probably going to put you on the spot when I ask you this question. Who was the worst person you ever worked with?
Ooh. I'm still alive and they're still alive.
Oh, okay. Okay, well maybe you can. That'll be after the show.
Right.
You know, we'll do like the Atlanta Housewives after the show series. You know, maybe tell that. But you do have people that are difficult to work with.
Absolutely. You know, I was talking to Quincy Jones one time, and Quincy, I was telling Quincy, you know, I was having some issues with certain people, you know, and he said, Michael, he said, don't worry about it, man. He said, when they get to that level, they're all problems.
Okay.
He said, just get the money and make the best record you can make.
Okay.
You know, and that was some good advice he gave me, because, you know, I have a very low tolerance for nonsense. You know, music is supposed to be fun.
Exactly.
And when you start bringing that drama and all them egos into the picture, I don't fare well with that, you know, and I want to walk away. But if there's an opportunity to make something great from it, I'll stand and that's make it happen.
That's what I was going to say, because at the end of the day, when your name is on it, then you're going to make sure that is a quality product that you put out.
Yeah, because I tell people all the time that when you're recording music, it's forever.
Okay.
You know, I saw a interview in Rolling Stone magazine. It was another proud moment in my career, and it was the world's greatest 100 albums ever recorded, and Rapture was one of those albums in the history of music. And that just blew my mind, you know, and it let me know that I'm doing something right. You know what I'm saying? When you sell millions of records, you're saying millions of people saying, I like what you did.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. So. Well, you know, a half hour is never enough time, and you and I could talk all day, because we have like about 30 some odd years. So I just want you to look into this camera, and I want you to kind of speak to some young girl, some young guy that's out there that has a interest in doing something, and they don't want to know. They don't know exactly what to do. Just from your heart and all that you've been through, just kind of encourage somebody today if you can.
Well, what I would say to anybody, singer, rapper, musician, is to study your craft. Listen to records, read books. You know, you can learn how to do anything on the internet. So you just have to do your research and study and stay true to your passion. You gotta love it. If you love it, you'll probably be really good at it, because you'll strive to get better and better and better. So and always keep God first. Amen. Always let Him guide your path, and you'll never go wrong.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come sit with me. One thing I did want to ask you: do you ever do a workshop for kids? Have you ever put on a workshop?
We have workshops every now and then. I have a friend. His name is Miles Dixon.
Okay.
And I know he's going to be doing a workshop soon. Kern Brantley, who sings with Lady Gaga. He's a bass player with Lady Gaga, local guy. He's going to be doing one. And Paul Reiser and I are talking about doing one. Paul is a world-renowned string arranger, just an arranger, not just strings, but his string arrangements are totally incredible.
I'm going to put you on the spot, because I want you to do a workshop with Women in Power Crossing Paths with my organization, and then we can talk about that, where we could put something together for some young girls. So we're going to have to wrap up the show. Again, thank you. I am going to have to end the show like I always do, thanking my public, my fans, for tuning in and looking at it. Hopefully I brought you something that will bless you, and I'm going to say to you, from my beating heart to your beating heart, I love you. You understand? Okay.